Known to one and all. Our team comprises of Ramya, Riya, and myself, Padmini, and we are here to give out our Six Sigma presentation. So, to basically start with our case study, this was the problem that was thrown at us to tackle through the Six Sigma way. So basically, in our garment manufacturing unit, a new employee took around 36 days to come up to the learning curve and be able to perform the best on the job. The problem was that the 36 days time was considered very less for the employees to be able to perform their best. And the problem that we actually had to solve was to reduce the number of days by 20% while ensuring that the training process is made more effective, efficient, productive, and foolproof. Now, moving on to the project charter, we have a little bit of background about what we are as a company, as a unit. We are a garment manufacturing unit which produces high-end clothing with around 250 employees under us. Like I said, the problem statement is the case study that we were handed over. And our goal statement is to reduce the number of days by 20% while increasing the effectiveness of the training program. To cover the in-scope of the program, it is basically everything regarding the training program, cost reduction, the time management, better employee satisfaction, and so on. If we look at the stakeholders, we have the new hires, the new employees, because basically, obviously, they're the ones most affected by the change in the training system. And we have the line managers, because they're the ones who actually deal with the new employees on a day-to-day basis over a very long period of time. And we have the resources, which is basically the team available to tackle the problem. We have our team leader, our sponsor, our trainer, and also line managers, including the IT manager and the human resource manager. And if we look at the timeline that we've provided for each step in the Six Sigma process, we've kept 1 single day for the definition, 1 week each for the measure and analysis phases, 2 weeks for the improve phase, and 3 to 4 months for the control phase, which is the longest, which can go up to a level of 6 months. To continue, I would like to call up Ramya.
I'm going to be talking about the current existing process map in the organization. As we can see, first we have ID creation. ID creation is more concerned with creating the identity of the employees in the organization, distributing identity cards, and also recording the name and other details of the employees into the database and also the payroll system of the organization. 5 days have been allotted for this. This is a non-value adding activity and is certainly going to nullify this in a new process map. Next, we have assessment and formation of goals, formation of groups. Here, this is mainly concerned with assessing the theoretical knowledge base of the employees. 3 days have been allotted for that. After this, we have 20 days for classroom training, 5 days for on-the-job training. All in all, I'm going to be explaining this in detail later on. Next, we have assessment again. This assessment is mainly to assess what the employees have learned from our training program. Now coming down to training. Training is certainly one of the most important factors in every organization. Training pertaining to retail sector, certain organizations have weekday training, training on a daily basis. And also there's certain organizations also have weekend training, 15-minute weekend training, wherein the entire previous week's progression has been tracked down. Certain organizations also have quarterly training, which is mainly conducted by HR managers. Sessions of personality development, motivational sessions are conducted. We are mainly focusing here on orientation training. Once an employee is recruited into our company, they'll be divided into groups based on their specialization. As follows: beginning designers, they are going to be trained on pattern designing and product outlay. Textile engineers, textile technology, that is what we're going to train them on. Cutters and pressers, again, technology pertaining to cutting and pressing. Then we have sewing machine operators, again, technology pertaining to sewing machine. Then we have modular manufacturers. They are not just responsible in keeping a check on the entire manufacturing process, but they also interact with retailers and wholesalers on a daily basis, mainly to acquaint themselves with the current market scenario. As a result, functional training as well as skill set training, which is communication training, will be provided. This is a 20-day intense classroom training. Currently, only classroom training is what we provide. After this, a 5-day on-the-job training will be provided. As the name suggests, on-the-job is a more practical form of training. The employees will be trained on a more practical basis. The entire training process will be demonstrated by the trainer on a step-by-step basis. And here, the employees will get a hands-on experience to get to work as well as get trained simultaneously. Our current training system is fairly efficient compared to other organizations. For example, Landmark Group in the retail sector like Lifestyle, Max Splash, their orientation training goes on for 45 days. So comparatively, we're fairly efficient. Yet, however, we want to improve our training mainly because to make it up to date regarding the services and technology and the opportunities available in the market, we also want to make it time flexible, cost beneficial. All in all, we want to ensure that we provide the most efficient process map so that in true sense we can expect efficiency and increase in productivity from our employees in return. Now Ria will be talking about the new process map.
So Ramya is taking you through the existing process map, and now I'll be describing the process that we've designed to make it more effective. We have identified on-the-job training and the training process in general as activities which will add value to the final product. They will increase the competence of the employees, whereas ID creation is important but does not add value to the product as such. So our first step will be orientation. Now this will be a 2-day process which will consist of 1-day formal orientation where the veterans of the company will introduce them and convey the mission, the vision, and the rules and regulations that they expect the employees to adhere to. The second day will be an informal orientation where the employees will be involved in icebreakers and team building activities so that they can develop an attachment not just to each other but to the organization as well. The second step of this training process is classroom training. Now since ours is a garment manufacturing unit, it's important for them to be familiar with the fabrics, the different types of dyes and the different types of machinery that they'll be operating. So 1 day has been devoted to this so they have the theoretical knowledge so that they can practically apply their skills. The third step is safety training. Again, this is a manufacturing unit and all the safety precautions should be taken so that no untoward incidents take place on our premises. So after the safety training is conducted, we have devoted 6 days to cross-functional training. It's very important for a person in one division to be aware of how their work impacts someone in another division. In a garment manufacturing unit, your processes are very interdependent. So we have said 6 days, 1 day for quality inspection, 1 day for designing, 1 day for sewing, 1 day for finishing and dyeing as well as cutting. Now this will give them the basic knowledge which will help them to understand how their work impacts someone else. This will help in giving them accountability and add to the ultimate value of the product that they produce. The fifth step, now we would like to evaluate our employees at this stage to identify where their weaker areas are so that we can improve upon them. We will also like to see who is the most competent so that they can be trainers for the people who are not performing as well as the others. The sixth step is job skill training. Now they have basic knowledge in the different areas such as cutting, sewing, but now we are going to give them specific training for the job for which they have been employed. And this will be a 6-day rigorous training to refine their skills and to make them as competent as possible. Our seventh step is something called vestibule training. Now after visiting the factory, we would like to take them in a work site which has the equipment which exactly duplicates what would be found in the factory, except their output would not be considered at this stage. This will give them a chance to familiarize themselves with the equipment so that their output when they start working will be at its highest. The last stage in this is on-the-job training. Now the method that we've adopted is coaching. This is a one-to-one method and it will be most effective because people who have experience will be able to give them tips on what they should do and what to avoid. This is the process map that we've designed, and as you can see, the number of training days has reduced from 36 to 29. Now even though we've increased the number of days in training and on-the-job training, the overall days has reduced because of ID creation. Now we intend to conduct this in parallel once they join the organization so that no time is wasted because this is not a value-added activity. Finally, assessment, as you can see, is the fifth step in this process, and we have reduced it from 6 days to just 1 because we want to evaluate, we want to adopt a continuous evaluation process rather than a one-time evaluation.
Fishbone analysis mainly talks about the reason for inefficiencies in an organization. As we can see, it's divided into 6 main components: materials, methods, machinery, people, mother nature, and measurement. Out of this, we consider materials and people to be the 2 main components pertaining to our industry and our organization. Under materials, our major problem area is seasonal variation, and under people, a major problem area is lack of motivation. Now coming down to control impact matrix, all the subdivisions of Fishbone analysis has been divided into 4 grids: high impact, low impact, controllable, and uncontrollable. Out of this, the high impact and controllable section is the most important problem area in our organization. Now we have Padmini talking about YY analysis.
Now that we've taken you through the crux of our presentation, we've come down to the YY analysis, which basically looks at why the entire problem exists in the first place. Basically, the first Y is regarding the inefficient training, which is outright the problem we have at hand. Why we have inefficient training is because the lack of advanced technology that can be used in the training process. And the lack of technology is because of the high cost that will be involved in inculcating all this technology into the process. And basically trickling down to the final level, the basic why to the problem is that we haven't planned enough in our yearly budget and in our yearly planning process. And so this is the crux of the YY analysis we have. Now, this is the solution selection board that we have, and this is an additive model. First, we had 2 options basically with us: solution A, solution B. Solution B was just to reduce the number of days. We could achieve the 20% reduction in the number of days and bring it down to 29 or 28 days. But it did not involve any kind of innovation or steps to actually make sure that the training process becomes better. So we see that the ease of implementation was quite high. It was 5. But when we looked at the impact rating as to how good it will do to the new employees we have at hand, it was just 1. And you can see that the total score received by solution B was 6. The other one is obviously solution A, and this is the one we've actually inculcated into our presentation. The ease of implementation is 5. It is not that easy, but then the impact rating is also 5, and the total comes up to 10, which is basically why we've selected solution A. Now moving on to the overview, the final result of our presentation and of our Six Sigma solution that we've produced, we've provided for the entire problem. If you see, the time has been reduced. Statistically, the time has been reduced by 20% from 36 days to 29 days. The productivity was very low before, but now it's extremely high. The training methods have been updated, new technology has been included. And if you take a look at the non-value added item, we've brought it down from 5 days to 0 days, which is basically the entire point of Six Sigma process, putting a manufacturing unit through Six Sigma process. So we've been spot on about that. And if we look at the employee satisfaction, we have increased it because they have a lesser number of days, but a better training process, which allows them to work much better. And obviously, if we look at the wastage, the time wastage, the cost, the energy, and the effort that's put into the entire training process, we've reduced it while at the same time making use of all the effort that is actually put in. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our Six Sigma presentation. Hope we gave you some good takeaways to take home. Thank you.